What's up, Ego Hackers? Welcome to the show. This is the CS Joseph podcast. I'm your host, CS Joseph, and I'm enjoying myself right now in downtown Coeur d'Alene and basically triggering everybody with my funny sign, claiming that I'm a psychic, offering people the opportunity to be on my show. I probably should actually, have the word free on it because that would be, interesting, but who knows? Anyway, today's Acolyte question. This will be the third time that I filmed this because I keep getting interrupted. So hopefully no one actually interrupts me for this particular segment. But today's question from an Acolyte, it's an Entj related question, and it's basically, what does ESFJ Superego look like? Which honestly is a great question. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to answer this question. So yeah. Pretty good question, pretty deep. We don't often get very many demon-related or superego related questions, but we got a new series going to be coming out right as soon as we're done with the Octagram series, which I'm very happy to have the opportunity to film as well. We're going to be doing the ISTJ and ISTP Octagram episodes very soon for the members section. And that's going to be available at csjoseph.live/members. If you're not already a Journeyman member, become a Journeyman member, get access to all the premium lectures, as well as all the cutting-edge podcast episodes, typing famous people, and be able to put in famous people's names into a hat. So you guys can participate, learn more, and we get into some really, really deep stuff on that. So yeah. Here I am just triggering people and enjoying my SE demons, just taking it in, loving it so much. It's like my favorite thing to do in the whole world. Got some of that unconscious development desecration coming out too. This is a very Christian town, and all the Christians are walking by judging me because it's like, oh my God, it's a psychic, and it's like, then at the end I tell them no, actually I'm just a psychologist. But whatever, it's fine. If I actually put psychologist on the frickin' sign, no one's gonna come up, no one at all. But yeah, I'm gonna be traveling the country with my sign, basically. I'm gonna be doing it on the Vegas Strip soon. That's gonna be fun. Doing it at various other places, some Seattle, the Fremont district. So yeah, we'll be able to go wherever we want, and we'll be doing a bit of a tour around the USA. If you folks want to get in on that tour, you're welcome to join on the show when that time comes. And we're actually going to be making a sign-up sheet available to those that actually want to be on the show in the near future. And we'll be making that available specifically to Journeyman members first. And then we're going to be releasing that on the Discord, only on the Discord. We're not going to make it available to anyone else. So you got to be on the Discord to be able to get access to that, or a Journeyman member. And to get on the Discord, it's discord.gg/ego hackers, more specifically. So yeah, today's question, the ENTJ question, what does the ESFJ Superego actually look like? I actually had a personal run-in recently with the ESFJ Superego. It actually cost me a lot of money. It was a very uncomfortable situation for me personally. I was basically hired to do a job by an ENTJ, and I did the job, but it ended up actually costing me way more money to do the job than actually make a profit on it, due to the antics of the ESFJ Superego, basically. And that's the thing, a lot of people don't understand, how ESFJs actually work fundamentally, in as much as how ENTJs work fundamentally. So let's actually discuss the fundamentals first, all right? ENTJs have the cognitive origin of purpose, which is basically another way of saying it's like a legacy of achievement. They want to be able to achieve things consistently on a regular basis, right? Because their entire identity, their entire self-worth is based on their ability to achieve their own personal goals. The reason why is they want to be remembered for something when they die, not unlike Ray Kroc, okay? Ray Kroc is the guy who made McDonald's what it is, right? And you can actually watch like the documentary or no, the movie starting Michael Keaton actually as Ray Kroc, and it's on Netflix. I forget what the name is, but it's an exquisite film. I highly recommend it. It also gives you a nice window as to kind of how things were in like the 1900s, but highly recommend it for all of those ENTJs out there, or anyone who's body temple. Body temple being ESFJ, ENTJ, INTP, and ISFP types, okay? Check that out because that's what it's all about. Purpose drives the ENTJ, and their purpose is based on their ability to leave something memorable behind when they die. And there's a lot of evidence of ENTJ-related legacy across the planet. Like, for example, the pyramids of Giza, they like last forever, right? Or mostly forever. Or that pyramid that was actually found in Antarctica that people don't really want people to find out about. If you want to learn more about that, watch Jimmy Corsetti's show called Bright Insight here on YouTube. It's pretty awesome, actually. But yeah, Jimmy Corsetti, awesome ENTP guy. I really enjoy like his work and what he's been able to do in exposing a lot of things. I really enjoy his Atlantis playlist as well, so check him out. But cognitive origin of purpose, they have a deadly sin attached to that cognitive origin, which is the deadly sin of greed, and that's where the ESFJ superego can be really, really bad. And the deadly sin of greed is actually really expressed through ESFJ superego, and we're going to explain how that actually happens as well as why in a few minutes. So from there, you also have their living virtue of generosity. Now, a lot of people don't understand what generosity is compared to charity, and I actually go into a deeper analysis on this in Season 7. So go on the YouTube channel, go to playlists, check out Season 7, watch the ENTJ episode, as well as the ESFJ episode. The ESFJ side, it's also talking about caregiving versus caretaking. Now, caregiving is when you are giving something for the sake of giving it to somebody else, whereas caretaking is that you're actually giving to get. And this leads ESFJs to do this form of manipulation known as the covert contract. The covert contract is basically this subtle, hidden thing where it's like, hey, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right? You scratch my back, scratch your, or if I scratch your back, you scratch my back, basically, from that perspective. The difference is that the ESFJ doesn't actually tell other people that, hey, I'm being really giving to you, but that means I expect to be able to take from you, I expect to be able to receive from you at a later date. It's their ISFP shadow, that's their unconscious, that's basically getting to a point where it's like, hey, I'm investing in you. They're FI nemesis. They're investing in other people and being very all about their level of investment with others. And every time I do something for you, I'm basically investing in you, and I would like to get some ROI. I want to get some return on investment. And that's what happens with their ENTJ superego, is looking for that return on investment. But that's actually how an ENTJ ego actually structures their relationships with people in their life, like consistently. It's all based on whether or not they're going to, how do you put it? It's all based on ROI. All of their human relationships, it's all about return on investment. Even their sexual relationships actually can be structured from a perspective of return on investment, which is kind of scary if you think about it, because what if, a person is not able to provide that ROI specifically to the ENTJ, and that ends up becoming very problematic for the ENTJ as well as that particular person, because the ENTJ is like, oh, I got my living virtue, I'm being really generous, right? And remember, don't confuse generosity with charity. Charity is the virtue of the ENFP as explained in Season 7 content. Now, charity is giving a little bit, but to a lot of people, right? Whereas generosity is giving a lot, but just to like one person, right? That's kind of the ENTJ way, as it were. The thing is, oftentimes, they are very generous towards that one person, but then their ESFJ superego basically enforces, it becomes an enforcer of a return on investment on the part of the ENTJ later. Oftentimes, the ENTJ actually forgets, due to introverted sensing trickster, they often forget what they have already given. They also forget what other people have given them, which is actually the worst part about introverted sensing trickster, because oftentimes the ENTJ actually does receive return on investment from other people, but they forget that those people have given to them. They forget that they did receive that return on investment over time. And honestly, the ENTJ is so hyper-focused usually on money because of greed, deadly sin. And due to that focus, they don't really count all of the other favors, all the other things, or the knowledge sharing, for example, that someone else has given to them. And because it didn't have any monetary value to them, they don't actually see it as a true return on investment, right? So from their perspective, they start feeling bad. And then they feel bad with their introverted feeling inferior. They feel bad that they've given so much to that other person, which basically sucks. It really sucks to be them. It sucks in that particular moment. And as a result of that, it can cause a lot of problems, especially with their ESFJ superego. Here's an example. This is an example of my own life, where I met up with this ENTJ and I did a job for him, right? It was a very big job. A lot of money was involved, a good amount of money. And the thing is that like I was awarded the contract, but the thing is that then the ENTJ decided to take control of that contract because they're like, oh, well, I'm your customer, etc. So because you're getting paid this much, guess what? I get to decide how you spend that money. I get to decide who you hire, basically, to help me do the job, which is entirely ridiculous. But they like to control their, quote, investment into other people. And this is an example of how ESFJ superego could basically covert contract, because it's like, hey, I was really generous with you. I actually gave you this so-called contract, and then you're going to do this job for me, right? But then I get to dictate to you how you spend that money. I get to dictate to you who you're going to hire. I get to dictate to you, there's all this additional fine print. There's all this additional, subtext that is actually directly applied to, to that job, etc. And it's literally just ESFJ superego trying to control, right? Trying to control the outcome, trying to guarantee that the ENTJ is going to get the outcome that it wanted from the actual hiring. But that doesn't exactly convey a lot of trust. This is actually one of the ways you can actually alienate an ENTP, if not most people, as a result of hiring them, such that then the ENTP or other people would not actually want to receive the generosity from that ENTJ ever again, right? And this causes so many problems, like a ton of problems. And it's ridiculous. And it happens over and over and over. It's a huge problem, like a big problem. And and they don't even realize that they do this. Well, what this causes is their ESFJ superego ends up alienating people who do actually produce really good return on investment. May not always be monetary, but even the ones that do produce monetary value for the ENTJ is basically forever alienated that person through their ESFJ superego. Because people don't like being controlled. They don't like being told what to do, because it's like, hey, I gave you this contract. I was generous towards you, so that means I get to control you, basically. And their ESFJ superego basically starts enslaving other people in the process, because the ESFJ superego believes that it deserves to be able to be so controlling. And that's a huge problem. It's a major problem. I don't recommend it. If you're an ENTJ, don't do this to people. Seriously. If you're an ENTJ and you hire someone because you trust them, okay? Because you know that they have the technical skill, the knowledge, or whatever to actually be able to do the job. And yes, I'm projecting here because I have my own, anecdote, that I'm working on from this perspective. But it can be a problem. And it has been a problem on a consistent basis within my life with certain ENTJs. And with and other people also suffer the same as much as I have when dealing with the ESFJ superego. And that's a problem. That caretaking just ends up happening because the ENTJ, it's all about protecting their reputation. It's all about protecting that return on investment, even though they already have that return on investment, but they forget what that return on investment is, or their introverted feeling inferior is so afraid of qualifying certain things as return on investment if it is not concretely based in monetary value with extroverted sensing child, okay? Which is as a result of the ENTJ deadly sin of greed, basically, right? And that's a huge problem as well. So you guys got to watch out for this. This is how ESFJ superego acts. You always got to keep in mind, if you're receiving the generosity from an ENTJ, it is your responsibility to make sure that you're protecting yourself and cutting all of those hidden strings that are attached. Because ESFJ favors, there's always strings attached. You always got to be aware of that. Well, usually strings attached. I'd say probably like follow Pareto principle, 80-20. 80% of the time, there's going to be strings attached, okay? You want to watch out for that. Please be careful, to that end, right? That could be a serious problem. So watch out. You want to watch out for that. Seriously, watch out. So yeah, that's basically like in a nutshell how ESFJ Superego acts. And that's how the greed is actually expressed through ESFJ Superego. They're going to give you something, but there's strings attached. And it's usually because they're trying to protect their return on investment, which happens because they forget the return on investment they've already received, or they themselves don't qualify what they have received as return on investment because it's not in the category of an exchange of monetary value. And literally reducing human beings to an exchange of monetary value, which is basically extroverted feeling demon. It's really terrible. Don't recommend it. It really sucks. And it sucks for basically everyone to be reduced in that way. One of the reasons like how ENTJs like create systems or procedures, especially standard operating procedures in businesses and whatnot, for other people to follow, they often ignore the human factor that goes along with it. They have to remember that they're working with human beings and not machines, right? Oftentimes I hear ENTJs say, well, it's so easy, a monkey can do it. Well, the thing is that even a monkey is not human. That's the problem. So ENTJs often ignore the human factor. And because they ignore the human factor with extroverted feeling demon, as a result, it causes so many problems, like big problems. So you got to be careful about that. You always got to watch out. So remember, there's always a chance, if not a likelihood, that if an ENTJ is being generous to you, that there are strings attached. Now I know that sounds fatalistic or sounds pessimistic or whatever, but it is absolutely a risk. You're going to want to watch out for that just in case. ESFJ Superego is definitely present, and that greed, deadly sin can come out. It's like, hey, I'm really generous to you, but then I'm going to be greedy about it. You got to watch out. Body temple types like INTPs, they can handle that. But then you get heart temple types like myself. Nope, I'm not down for that at all. It's just not my thing. So anyway, folks, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you guys next time.